off a few red flags on things to avoid, people to avoid, and situations to avoid to ensure that you don't get caught inadvertently in the trap of committing mortgage fraud. So, what is mortgage fraud? So, mortgage fraud is basically lying or deliberately leaving out information during the mortgage process in order to get approved to gain financially. It can be done by borrowers, brokers, valuers, lawyers, and even politicians. My name is Anthony Lindsay, and I make these videos not to provide legal advice, tax advice, or financial advice, but instead just to talk through different things that are going on in the economy and going on in the world of mortgages. If you need a reliable, fast, honest mortgage broker, make sure that you book an appointment with me. You need to protect yourself. Here are some ways to protect yourself from mortgage fraud. Work with an FCA regulated broker or lender, or both. So I always say you should always go to a broker to get your mortgage. Going directly to a lender is not going to give you choice. And it means that instead of being able to shop the entire market and find the best rate and best deal and best product for you, you're going to one lender that very well might be giving you their best rate, but it doesn't mean it's the best rate. Even more frequently, what will happen is you'll go directly to the lender and you may not meet their criteria, and therefore they'll just say no. They're not saying you as an individual can never get a mortgage with anyone. They're simply saying that you don't meet their criteria. But this is one of the things that I find quite commonly, that people have been told no by their lender and they've given up because they think that that's saying that they can't get a mortgage, when in fact, they should have just gone to a mortgage broker. Another way to protect yourself is to ask questions and demand clear expectations, clear explanations. You shouldn't actually have to demand it because it should be a part of the way that the broker engages with you. The broker should be explaining absolutely everything to you. As I say, quite often people feel that I over explain it, but I'd rather over explain than under explain. That's also why I do these videos. And that's also why I wrote my book, A Mortgage is a Really Big Loan, to explain things that people can make informed choices and feel confident about the largest purchase they're probably ever going to make in their entire life. Never sign what you don't understand. That's pretty straightforward. If you don't understand it, don't sign it. Keep records of who you speak with. If you're dealing with a mortgage broker, 9 times out of 10, that will be the only person that you're dealing with. But keep records. Make sure that you engage with each professional. Make sure that they've come recommended, or that you vetted them, that you know that they are licensed, that they are reliable, and that they're honest. You want to make sure that you're working with an honest professional. And this is where it comes, this is where we have the discussion about fees quite often, is because sometimes people will choose the professional that they're going to work with based purely on price. That's a big mistake. And this is another way that people fall into the trap of mortgage fraud. So inadvertently, they've gone to the cheapest person. So they've gone to someone who's cutting corners, who potentially isn't licensed, who is willing to do whatever to make some money. Always choose your professional wisely, and don't choose based on price, choose based on service. Getting a mortgage is as fast as the slowest person, and one person not doing their job properly can cost you a lot of money instead of saving you money. Use reputable solicitors and conveyancers. That goes without saying. You will find sometimes the more reputable ones are a little bit more expensive, but they're more expensive for a reason. So this is how you protect yourself from inadvertently falling into the trap of mortgage fraud. So this is for someone who may be out there, maybe a little bit naive. You're a first-time buyer, and these are ways that you can protect yourself from getting yourself in trouble. Red flags. So things to avoid, people to avoid, situations to avoid. So someone tells you a lie, tells you to lie about your income. So just say you earn more. So let's just say in order to qualify for a £400,000 mortgage, you're a little bit short, and a broker or a solicitor or an accountant is telling you, just lie. and say you make more. Don't do it. Anytime someone is telling you to lie about something, you should know, and there should be some red flags that come up. So, your income is your income. What the lender is going to want to see is P60s. They're going to want to see pay slips. They're going to want to see things that verify your income. That's for your protection. So, don't feel that lenders don't want to lend. They make a ton of money by doing mortgages. So it's in their best interest to do the mortgage and to move forward. But they don't want to put you in a situation where you won't be able to maintain your payments. Because as they always say, your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up the repayments on your mortgage. Another thing to avoid at all costs, a friend or unregulated advisor offers to get you a deal for cash. Anything that looks and sounds too good to be true, especially with property, probably is. So make sure that you're checking paperwork, make sure that the person is truly regulated, make sure that you're engaged with the seller, because it could be a situation where this person is trying to get you to purchase a property that they have no right to be selling. So avoid that. That should be a red flag. They ask you to sign blank forms or don't explain the documents. This is a clear violation of FCA guidelines. Every broker will make sure that you understand the document. One of the criticisms that some clients have about me is that I over explain things. And throughout the process, I'll repeatedly say, do you understand? Do you want me to explain that again? So you should always understand the documents that you're signing. They should always be explained to you clearly, and you should never, ever, ever be embarrassed to ask them to explain the thing again. They should also give you the opportunity, if you want to have someone else in the meeting, to have someone else there, or to take the documents away, that you can speak to another professional who is licensed, and that person can maybe explain it in a different way or just confirm your understanding of the document. The worst thing you can do is go to cousin Bob or a friend or family member that may have purchased houses in the past and ask them to verify documents. If they're not licensed professionals, they may have the best intentions in mind. However, they may be misleading you. So make sure you don't sign any blank documents ever, and make sure that the documents that you do sign, you clearly understand. Another red flag is they encourage you to pretend you live in a property when you plan to rent it. That's mortgage fraud. So this is what's in the news with Letitia James in the US and Lisa Cook in the US. So they allegedly took out mortgages on properties that they said were going to be their prime resident when in fact they were renting them out. The reason why someone would do that is because there's different products available for your prime residence as opposed to buy to let. The criteria is different. And the interest rates are different. The repayment structures are different. So they are saying, or allegedly have said, that a property that is actually rented out is their main residence. So this is what's been in the news recently in the US with Lisa Cook and with Letitia James. Now, let's just suspend the whole political thing and the why they're being accused of these things. If it is true, it is mortgage fraud. So if you are trying to purchase a property and it's going to be your residential property, and for whatever reason, a mortgage broker, solicitor, friend, or family member is saying, just get a buy to let and then live in it. Avoid it. Do not do it. It is mortgage fraud. You are misusing the product that you're getting. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get found out. So avoid it. Don't do it. Don't let anybody talk you into it. Another red flag thing to avoid, they push you into a property scheme that sounds too good to be true. I think all of us from a very young age are told if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And when it comes to property and when it comes to these legal matters, you absolutely want to make sure that everything you're doing is above board, is legal. And sometimes it's just beyond it being above board and being legal. You're working with reputable people, because it might be above board and might be legal, but might not be the best thing for you because of the people that you're entering into this arrangement with. The common mistakes that first time buyers, remortgaging clients make, and just people in general, is taking out new loans or credit before applying. So there's this myth or misconception from some people that, all right, what I'm going to do is I need £10,000 for my deposit for my home. I'm going to go out and get a personal loan for £10,000 for the deposit for my home. Bad idea. And usually it won't work. And here's why. If you take out a £10,000 loan prior to applying for a mortgage, firstly, your credit score might drop. But more importantly, what's going to happen is those repayments that you have to make on that loan, on the personal loan, are going to come out of your affordability anyway. So if you're paying £200 a month to repay that loan and you only had an affordability of £800 a month anyway, then that means it's going to reduce it to £600 a month. So it's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul and messing up the mortgage application. So speak to a mortgage broker 6 months before you're ready, and they can give you a game plan and a blueprint on how to be on track to get the deposit that you need and also protect your credit profile. The other common mistake that people make is not budgeting for solicitor fees, surveys, and moving costs. So your deposit, so the money that you're going to pay down on the property is just one of the things that you have to pay. You do have to pay solicitors. You do have to pay your broker, and you may have other moving costs. You may have to pay for the valuation. So if you have a, let's just say, £30,000 deposit or your savings is £30,000, it doesn't mean that that full £30,000 can be used towards the purchase, because some of it will be used towards paying solicitors and broker fees. A common mistake that people make is not budgeting. And remember, there's two things. Buying a property always takes longer than people think, and it always costs more than people think. So make sure that you're budgeting, and budgeting based on real information from speaking to a mortgage broker. Another big mistake, and you know it's one of my pet peeves, trusting mates rates instead of regulated professionals. There are fee paying mortgage brokers, there are free mortgage brokers, or you can go to the bank. Don't go to an unregulated mate. Don't listen to your barber. Don't listen to your beautician or your gardener or your electrician or your plumber, no matter how many mortgages they've taken out. Always speak to a licensed professional and be willing to pay for their professional services. Having the right professional in your corner will save you money. It won't cost you money. In my case, as a mortgage broker, on average, if I negotiate the deal for the client, on average, I save them £2,500. On average, sometimes I've saved people £35,000 by negotiating the deal for them. That's on higher value houses, of course. However, you have to pay for my services, but my services are far less than the 2,500 that I've just saved you in real money on your mortgage. So avoid mates rates, deal with professionals, don't try to barter. Their fee is their fee. If you can't afford it, then find someone you can afford. But remember, buying a house is more expensive than you think. Don't try to cut corners with solicitors or brokers. The other big common mistake, and I want to warn everyone against this and also give you some tools, buying well beyond your budget. My grandmother used to say, you ride crooked till you can cut straight. Another way of looking at it is your first home may not be your forever home. So you may need to buy in a zone further out than you had intended. You may not be able to have the extra room for your gym or for your office. You may need to start with what is suitable for you now and then build. So a great way of estimating the property price that you can afford, and this is just a rule of thumb, is to take your income, multiply it by 4. So if your salary, and this would be potentially the combined income or all the people on the application, let's just say the combined income is £50,000 a year. You take that number, multiply it by 4. So 50 times 4 is 200. So that means you can get a mortgage of 200,000. Then you add your deposit. So if you had a £30,000 deposit, 200 plus 30 is 230. You can purchase a property price at the top end of £230,000. Yes, there are things like loan to valuation and criteria, etc. But if you go into the conversation with the mortgage broker using that calculation, you'll probably be surprised if you can get more. But what people frequently do is they go to Zoopla or Rightmove, or they talk to friends and family and they talk about, well, ABC Bank does a income multiplier of 7 times your income. This puts you in a situation where you're buying well above your budget. And if things change, you can become a mortgage prisoner. So make sure you stay within your budget. My name is Anthony Lindsay, and I do these videos to improve your financial literacy, to talk through mortgages and other financial instruments. I don't give financial advice, I don't give legal advice, and I don't give tax advice. These videos are not designed to replace you speaking to a qualified professional who understands your needs, who you've been open and honest with. So make sure you speak to a mortgage advisor 6 to 12 months before you're ready to buy. Or if you already have a mortgage and you need a remortgage, make sure you reach out to me. I provide a free mortgage capacity report so you'll know exactly what you qualify for before you pay a penny. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you leave comments. If there's a topic that you'd like for me to discuss, please let me know in the comments section.